Yep, we're live.
Ready to?
Yep.
Ready to take it away, Paul? We have Phil Plait, the bad astronomer.
Ooh.
Calling in, and
Hello.
Hello.
How did that happen?
We'll be posting the blog.
Hey!
Hey! Wow, what a good camera you have.
Yeah. Holy crap! Yeah.
Oh.
We've been talking to people with little webcams for a long time. This is wonderful.
This is a, for those who are wondering, it's a Logitech 910. And I bought it on purpose for stuff like this because I was tired of looking like a fuzzy, grainy, yellowish blob floating in the screen. And I also, I said, the heck with this. I do this stuff not that often, but often enough. And I got a microphone, and I got a lighting kit. There's like a light
What?
I can tell.
stuff. Yeah, I know, it's like totally professional. Completely sold out to the man.
Nice. Let us know who this man is and maybe his contact information.
All I know is his first name is Doug. That's what they told me. What do I see in there? I see Molly.
Hi.
Yeah.
There's
Hi, Phil.
You're 4 pixels high. And I see
Yeah.
Liz in the background.
There's a tiny Liz also in the background.
You guys are like this big.
So yeah, thank you very much for calling in. We have a blog post up on our website about you calling in, where people can post questions if they so desire about astronomy, bad or otherwise. And then we will. We also have some. We also have a chat running here that people will probably be asking questions in. Although most of those questions will probably be silly questions.
Yes. In the meantime, do you want to just briefly, for the benefit of anyone watching who is not aware of who you are, just give us a rundown of who you is and what you does?
Sure. Actually, I'm just logging into the chat room here.
That could be a mistake.
For going to the DC January conference. No, I like the easy questions. There we go. All right, cool. I'm all set. Hey out there in webland, I'm Phil Plait. I'm an astronomer. I write the Bad Astronomy blog for Slate.com, which used to be with DiscoverMagazine.com, which used to be on badastronomy.com, because I'm nothing if not able to be bought. And I've been an astronomer for a long time. I've been writing about it for a long time. I've written for magazines. I've got a couple of books. And I sometimes appear as a floating head on TV shows talking about normally asteroid impacts and other stuff that can wipe out the Earth. That seems to be rather hot the past few years. But I really like science. I like talking about all kinds of astronomy stuff. There is astronomy going on right now, as a matter of fact. And I'll be happy to talk about that if anybody have any questions. And I want to make sure we get this out right away. I got a pile of really cool stuff that's going to be up for auction in a little while.
Ooh, yeah. We're going to do that auction right after we talk to you. It's going to be some pretty sweet stuff.
I love that what you said, which I interpret as awesome. You could totally like sell up like a scare tactics thing. Like, did you know there's astronomy happening all the time?
You're soaking it right now.
Your children aren't safe.
Are your children being exposed to astronomy? I hope so.
Did you?
Look at all this stuff in the chat room. Wow.
Do you feel? You're saying you always get asked on these shows when the various hysteria about approaching asteroids and so forth. Does that ever get kind of annoying? You'd be like, why don't you invite me on the show when something exciting and not gonna kill us is happening?
Well, there's always stuff happening that's going to kill us. That's just the way the universe is.
Oh.
No, it doesn't get annoying. It's only annoying when I get the conspiracy theorists who go on YouTube and put up these ridiculous videos where they say Comet Ison is being lied about to you by the government and it's going to hit us, and it's like, yeah, really, just like the last 18,000 comets you've made videos about, and yet we still seem to be here. Those get fairly irritating, but other than that, no, I love talking about this stuff, and asteroids are pretty awesome, and they're more than just basically bullets that can kill us, but there's a lot of science going on there. But in fact, if you can get people interested in them, because they can't hit us, then that's fine. I don't want people to be scared about these kind of things. But a hook's a hook, and if you can get people thinking about what's going on in Sky Bone, I think that's a cool thing.
Are you were you excited about the launch that happened just a few days ago to Mars?
There've actually been a couple of launches. Maven just launched, which is the Mars atmospheric volatile egregious.
Is that the one that's on our poster?
Yeah.
That's the one. We actually our chat notified us about it, and we actually were watching it. We put the stream from NASA on the overlay, and we're watching it live. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a nice launch. It's the next big NASA Mars mission after Curiosity. It'll get there September, I think, of next year, and it's going to look at basically the interaction between the sun, the solar wind from the sun, the subatomic particles that blow off the sun all the time, and the atmosphere of Mars. And the reason they want to do that is because we think, or we're pretty sure, that a billion years ago, Mars looked a lot like the Earth, and maybe even longer ago than that. There was a thicker atmosphere, there was standing water, we have a lot of evidence for lakes on Mars, maybe even an ocean, and that's gone. And the atmosphere is mostly gone. What happened to it? The idea is that the solar winds stripped away the atmosphere over a long, long period of time, and that made all the water evaporate. Well, the Earth has a magnetic field, and that protects us from the solar wind. Mars has a very weak magnetic field that does not protect it, and so we think that might be the difference between the two planets. But we want to know. We want to know exactly what happened, and the more we understand Mars, the more we understand, what could potentially happen to the Earth. So they've sent this probe there, and it's going to be up there for I think about a year. I think that's the nominal mission to basically investigate what happened, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's. I mean, this stuff. I find this stuff always incredible. I mean, the time differences between this stuff. Even when things are traveling at the speed of light, that the time between to contact and get information from probes and things that are on Mars is still into the minutes, is quite amazing. I
guess at its closest, I don't have these numbers at the tip of my fingers, but it's something like 2 minutes delay to get a radio signal from Earth to Mars. But when it's on the other side of the sun, it has to go from the Earth to the sun to the other side of the Earth's orbit and then all the way to Mars. So that's like the 20 minutes. So it's a pretty long delay. It just depends on where Mars is with relationship to Earth.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just Mars. With Cassini, it's like an hour.
Yeah, I've done phone tech support for a little while, and it's pretty bad. I can imagine that dealing with a probe it can be hugely problematic.
Well, normally, with like Cassini, which is orbiting Saturn and Saturn's moons, we understand no matter if we can't communicate with it right away because we know where it is, we know where all the moons are, and this is all just gravity, and gravity is fairly predictable. So we can say, a year from now, Cassini will be here, and all the moons will be here, and Saturn will be here, and we'll be looking down on it from a certain angle. They can plan all that stuff weeks, months, and years in advance. So that works out pretty well. I think it's pretty neat sometimes when you're calling somebody. I don't don't talk to people overseas that much anymore, although sometimes it happens with the phone. You get that delay because your signal has to go to the cell tower and then maybe up to a satellite and back down, depending on where you're calling or how you're calling. Now with the internet, it's just always delays, so nobody even thinks twice about it. But I remember back in the day, especially if you're doing live interviews on TV where they're talking by satellite to some correspondent, there's that little delay, and that's from the light, the radio waves going up to orbit to a satellite and back down. Pretty neat.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Light in your life.
Some people in the chat I thought was actually kind of interesting, talking about how apparently they were reading some articles about Venus, as opposed to Mars. Sort of, I guess, why is there so much excitement about Mars in the last little while? And they're saying Venus. They read an article saying Venus might be a better place to be looking at.
Oh, I see that from Diderot.
Yeah.
Diderot.
Diderot.
Sometimes you don't. Yeah, pronouncing usernames can be quite difficult sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. Venus is not the best target for a colony because of three things. One is that the atmospheric pressure on the surface is 90 times that of Earth. So it's like being under something like 30 meters of water, more than that. I'd have to do the math, but it's the atmospheric pressure is huge because the atmosphere is so thick. And because the atmosphere is thick, it traps all the heat that comes in from the sun. It's a little bit of the greenhouse effect, a little bit of just like wearing a blanket and keeping the heat trapped in. But the surface temperature of Venus is like 900 degrees. It's hot enough to melt, like tin or zinc or something like that. There could be pools of liquid metal open on the surface. Probably not really, but I'm saying there could be, because that's how hot it is. And it rains sulfuric acid there. So, awesome. Not exactly a place you want to go. Mars is a lot better because even though the atmosphere of Mars is very thin, it's not corrosive. It's not going to kill you. It's a lighter planet. Venus is roughly the same size as the Earth, which means it has roughly the same gravity as the Earth, a little bit less, but about the same, which makes it hard to get to, hard to land on, despite all the other problems with the atmosphere and all that. Mars is a little bit easier, although it's not like, a cakewalk. But we know how to do this. We've done it several times. The atmosphere isn't much of a help or hindrance if you want to live there. I guess you could say it's a little bit of both. It's thick enough that it can pick up dust, and you get big sandstorms, dust storms on Mars, which is kind of a pain. You do need a pressure suit to live on the surface, but there's also a lot of stuff in the surface. Basically, the dust and the ground up rock. It's called regolith. It's this weird powdery substance that's all over the surface. It's basically eroded rocks, but there's a lot of stuff in there. You could break it apart and make oxygen, water, a lot of other stuff that you need to live on Mars. So we think it's habitable with a lot of technology. You could put a base there. It would just be terribly expensive and just hard. I think the problems with living on Mars are all technological. It's not like Venus where it would be almost physically impossible. With Mars, it's just really hard, not super duper hard.
So someone says, okay, so the surface of Venus is out. What if we tunnel into it?
People are really into Venus.
That's a good idea, except you have to be on the surface to tunnel into it. So it's still kind of a problem. But although high up in the atmosphere of Venus, just like our atmosphere where it gets colder with altitude, more or less, Venus is the same way. And you can go up to a certain distance above the surface, and the temperature there is actually pretty nice. So if you had like a big dirigible or something, you could float around on Venus and it wouldn't be that bad. If your dirigible had a problem, you'd have to land, and then that would be bad. So I'm not sure it's the best place to go exploring with people until we have a lot better technology, I think.
I mean,
so you're saying Cloud City?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. What was that video game that just came out with the
BioShock.
cities floating above?
That was BioShock Infinite.
BioShock Infinite, yeah.
All right, sign me up.
I remember, like, back in the day, the wonderful days of science fiction, there was this idea where all we knew about Venus was that it was basically the same size as Earth, but it was slightly closer to the sun. And so it's like, it'll be great. It'll be just like a tropical paradise. It'll be perfect.
Dragons and such.
Yeah, it doesn't really work that way. So.
I hear that's where the women are from.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, if you watch Abbott and Costello Go to Mars, yeah. Probably nobody even knows who Abbott and Costello are.
We did an Abbott and Costello bit earlier in the run.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Who's on first action?
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
So they, I should ask you this, so maybe you have a little bit of chance to think about it, but we've been doing a project when people phone in, one of our wonderful donors has offered to donate money for every superhero that we can collect from people who phone in. They want unique, original superheroes. So I don't know if you can think of a superhero name and an ability that you would like to have or you would like to exist in the world, I guess. That we can add that we get $7 for every one we get from each person.
Actually, that's not too bad. I'd like to be, if I had a superpower, given how much I wind up traveling a lot, I'd like it to be, let's see, think of a good name, Hotel Curmudgeon Man. And that would be the power to make people quiet when they're walking down hotel hallways at 2 in the morning.
Ooh.
I think that would be mine.
Is that you wouldn't have any other hotel-related powers? It would be just that one?
Yeah, maybe also the ability to not think about what's covering all the walls and sheets and bathrooms. Oh.
That's a great, useful power.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot
actually, we back when I was at Sonoma State University a few years ago in California, we were developing educational activities based on NASA missions. And one of the missions we had was looking at ultraviolet light that came from space. So stars that explode in galaxies, they give off ultraviolet light, which you can't see with your eye. Gets absorbed by the Earth's atmosphere. So you have to put a satellite above the atmosphere to go look at these things. And we figured for middle school kids, one of the standards, the educational standards, is to understand the electromagnetic spectrum, ultraviolet light, visible light, gamma rays, infrared, all that stuff. So we created a kit which we could send to teachers, which had different ways of examining the electromagnetic spectrum, and it included a black light which goes out into the ultraviolet part of the spectrum. And there are materials that will glow, for example, when you shine a black light on a little bit of ultraviolet, they fluoresce. And there are these little plastic beads you can get and educational stuff, but also stuff like laundry detergent, and if you have a driver's license, there's part of it that's sensitive to UV, those kind of things. And we got the shipment of the lights, and we're testing everything out. And we started laughing, and we said, hey, we should go check out the men's room and the women's room and see which one is cleaner using the black light. And it turns out the men's room was perfectly clean, and the women's room had one fluorescing spot on the toilet seat. So they were actually pretty clean, but still we were joking about taking those with us when we traveled to give workshops for teachers, but we never had the guts to like scan our hotel room with them because, yeah.
Ignorance is bliss.
I think so. If you're trying to sleep at night.
I think in the intervening years with the CSI becoming so big, a TV show, now everybody's a little bit afraid of using black light.
Actually, I don't watch that show. So they use UV a lot to look for things.
To look for various deposits.
Protein stains.
Yes, various deposits on various things.
What? You've never watched the show?
I don't want to think about it right now. That's all.
Someone in Mike Lunsford in the chat actually pointed out that not that I necessarily expect Phil to be up on all the Desert Bus in-jokes of this year, but the Hotel Curmudgeon Man's arch nemesis is Johnny Brickfeet.
Probably, yeah.
Mr. Deadlord.
Just stomp.
Any Kids in the Hall fans?
Oh yeah, big time.
Mr. Deadlord was the guy with Mr. Heavyfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a skit they did.
Being a sketch comedy troupe from Canada, we're pretty familiar with Kids in the Hall.
Ah, of course.
Not personally, sadly, but we love them.
All right. Oh, this was awesome.
I am curious to find out what it is that you have to share with us today.
Ooh,
I want to find out.
Yeah.
Can you screen share the picture that's up on the page?
We can.
Although.
We can put it up.
Go ahead. Sorry.
We can put it up on the overlay. We should be able to put up the page from the blog. And oh dearie dear, this looks like some neat stuff.
Yeah.
It occurred to me just now that that picture is going to be pretty small. So let's do an experiment. I'll just reach up here.
Oh. Okay.
That's a good crowd today.
I'm nauseous.
Fill ear. Okay, here we go. I can actually, I'll actually. It's still on. Oh, look, as seen on Desert Bus. Oh, nice job. There you go.
Wait, all the stuff.
Oh, hey, it's Krieger's.
All the stuff that you said that you haven't actually moved it since you sent us the picture of the.
No, I haven't. This is kind of like auction inception here.
That's amazing.
Trying to. I'm looking. I gotta look at my Skype screen and not the. There we go. There. Got it. There we go. And I look at the actual Desert Bus page, and it's like 4 seconds behind. So.
All right. Well,
Alright.
I think that's a pretty definitive proof that that what you sent us is in fact entirely true, seeing as how it's exactly in the same configuration as it was.
That's awesome. Hey, my dog came in here and stepped on everything, so it's a little out of order, but there you go. I got a couple of my books. There's Bad Astronomy there, and Death from the Skies in Chinese, because why not? Astronomy magazine issue from a couple of months ago. I happened to have an article in there about UFOs, about astronomical events that are mistaken for UFOs. I got a little squishy Earth ball. I don't know if you can. Boy, this is really much harder to do than you'd expect. There we go. A couple of eclipse glasses. These are pretty cool, actually. They're really dark plastic filmed glasses. They're just, cardboard and plastic. But you stick them on and they block the sunlight, and they're rated safe. They block all the dangerous light from the sun. And if there's an eclipse or Phil Plait dog owner, thank you very much. If there's a big sunspot or something, you can put these on and see it. You can't use them with binoculars. Don't do that. They're just for your eyeballs. But it's still kind of cool. You can look at the sun with them. Some pictures from Spitzer Space Telescope, which is an astronomical telescope that takes infrared pictures. They're very cool. They're 8x10 lithographs. A Krieger Army sticker from Lucky Yates, who's the voice of Krieger on Archer. He gave me a couple of stickers, so I thought, why not? And let's, tell you what. Let me put this back. All right, good. And here we go. Yeah, bending over. I also have a couple of cool things. These are tektites. I've got a bunch of these here. I don't know if you can see them. There we go. Tektites are pieces of glass that we think are formed when an asteroid or something hits the ground. Oh, look, it's the phone. That must be Desert Bus calling. An asteroid hits the ground and compresses the material there, the dirt or the sand or whatever is there, blasts it up into the atmosphere. Okay, good. There. The joys of working from a home office, folks. So this material gets blown up into the air and then falls back to the ground. And as it passes through the air, it's melted. It forms kind of a glass and tumbles and then hits the ground. And they're called tektites. So it's a very lightweight black glass. They're actually pretty cool. And I've got 4 of those. But then, as I've had every year for Desert Bus, I have a meteorite. This is a Sikhote-Alin. I don't know, is that focused? I can't really tell. It's probably good enough. It's a Sikhote-Alin, which is an iron meteorite that fell in Russia in the 1940s. It was about the size of a school bus, and it exploded and then rained down debris all over the countryside out there. These are pretty cool. They look like shrapnel. They look like exploded bits of metal, and this is mostly iron. It's fairly dense. It weighs 30 grams, which is a lot for something which is, the size of your fingertip, basically, a little bit bigger. And I have a few of these. I love giving them away to folks or putting them up for something like this to raise money. And I'll note, I can barely hear this. Hang on a sec. I seem to have lost my sound. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, we just started talking.
Okay, good. I can barely hear you.
We're watching your stuff.
There we go.
We're astonished.
My
at the
only
rock
goal
being
here
in space.
is to crush Bobak's $3,000 into the ground.
Ooh,
So
nice.
So
Well,
who knows?
he didn't have a rock from space.
Yeah.
I've just got a lot of really cool GPLs.
Not even a rock. A piece of space shrapnel. That's awesome.
We should have Mars.
Which?
We have meteorites from Mars. They've fallen on various places on the Earth, but basically, if you get an asteroid impact on Mars, it blasts stuff up into space, and that can eventually hit the Earth. And we actually have material from Mars that came to Earth, without it having to have gone through a rocket.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
And so
They're very expensive.
we know enough about Mars now that we can actually look at a meteor and know and tell that it's from Mars?
Yeah, actually, it's really cool. Some of them are green, which is fairly unusual for meteorites, and they have little bubbles of gas in them. Basically, if an asteroid hits the ground and blows up the rock, that rock can have gas trapped in it, or it might melt the rock and it'll get bubbles in it from the atmosphere of Mars. Comes to Earth, and we can examine the ratio. I love this stuff. We can examine the ratio of isotopes of the gases. So there's argon in there, and argon comes in different isotopes, different types, and they have different ratios. And the ratio of those elements on Earth is different than it is on Mars, different than it is on the Moon or whatever. And now that we've gone to Mars and sampled the atmosphere there, we can confirm that some of these meteorites came from Mars.
Wow.
Are you sure it's not kryptonite?
It is green and from
Pretty
space.
Although I don't know how much kryptonite's on Mars, or how much
You're
krypton.
pretty sure.
Well, there's no way to test
But-
it without Superman, though, really.
Possibly.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Or a space program.
Oh.
So I mean, who knows? Yeah. So that's really cool when you think about the glass being thrown up into the air is awesome. But then there's the meteorite that has who knows how far that has traveled
Yeah.
through space
Yeah,
until
it's,
finally making its way here.
It's even cooler than that. You can look at various aspects of the meteorite can tell you how old it is. For example, when it's floating out in space, it's getting hit by subatomic particles from the galaxy as well as from the sun, and that changes sort of the outer layer, the chemistry of the rock, and you can measure how much it's been affected by this and estimate how long it's been in space. So you can say, oh, this was blasted out into orbit 60,000 years ago or 4 million years ago or whatever, as well as knowing how old the rock is itself, because we kind of know about Martian geology and figure out how old the rock was before that asteroid even hit it. And we can tell by the weathering how long it's been sitting on Earth, although one of them, called Nakla, I think, it was a known meteorite impact. It landed in Egypt in, I think, 1911. So we actually know how long it's been on Earth. This kind of stuff's really cool. I mean, we're not making this up. This is all real, and you can look at the physics and the science of this, and it all works. It all fits together, as it kind of has to, because it's, true.
So far, there hasn't been one that turned out to be a large hammer in the middle of the meteor crater, though, unfortunately.
I don't think so.
Ah, well.
Well, you keep us posted on that.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll make a note.
Awesome.
So,
Let's turn that auction light on.
so maybe we should start running this auction.
This is happening.
Sweet. I will tweet that right now.
And, Phil, you can maybe stay on the line. And
What if you're new to bidding? How does this work?
If you are new to bidding, go to desertbus.org and sign up for a donor account. And then you want to link your donor account. This is all very easy. Take about a minute or two. There's FAQs on the site about how to do it. You link your donor account to your name in our IRC chat, also on desertbus.org. And then when the bidding opens, you'll be able to see. It will tell you how to bid, which is you type /bid space the amount that you were bidding, and then optionally space and any bidding smack talk you wish to add. And with that, I think we should open her up. Let's do it.
begin the bidding.
Bidding on the Bad Astronomer lot of amazing things,
We're
including
currently at $678.
whoa,
Wait,
$900 from Wart Jr. 32373.
2373.
wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Admiral Nemo 905. Lord
90
Zalzabar $1,000.
Whoa! Space!
Sweet. Oh my gosh, look at that.
$1,200. People are not messing around on this.
Space!
Not when it's a piece of space rock.
Space. We get some.
Oh, Nathar, if you're trying to bid, you want to do /bid.
Yeah.
Meteorite.
Yeah. /bid.
Yeah, somebody do pi times 1,000. That'd be awesome.
Ooh, boy. We got
1,300.
Up to 1,300 for space.
A piece of space in your very own home.
Yes.
Um,
If it starts to like vibrate at some point down the road, you know that something bad's happening.
It's so cool, the thing too, that it looks like shrapnel or something from the impact. I think that's really neat.
it really does. There's a better picture of it on my website. If you go to slate.com and look for Bad Astronomy, or just go to badastronomy.com, I'll redirect you there. I have a closer up picture, closer upper picture of it.
Whoa.
A zoomed picture.
1333.33, and then 1350.
Oh.
The current leading bid from Vantar.
Nice. So yeah, it's this meteor, the meteoroid, the solid part that came in. It's basically a big chunk of iron, like I said, about the size of a school bus. And it broke up. It basically, if you remember what happened in Chelyabinsk in February this year, when that rock came in and basically exploded and rained down debris, the same sort of thing happens. As these things are ramming through the Earth's atmosphere at like 20 times, or more than 20 times the speed of sound. I have to think about that. But it's like 50 times as fast as a rifle bullet. It's super fast. The pressure compresses it and it breaks apart. And even something that's metal sometimes can't withstand that much force. And this thing basically exploded, and there was a lot of debris that rained down. But one chunk still stayed kind of big, got farther down into the atmosphere. So the part that exploded high up into the little pieces, those stayed hot. They were still moving really rapidly, and they tumbled. And they formed these really beautiful, strange, smooth shapes. I've got a few of those. Those are called, oh gosh, I'm totally blanking on the name. But those are like one kind of this meteorite. The other kind came down farther, and then when it blew up, it had already slowed enough that those pieces just basically turned into shrapnel and then just hit the ground. So if you kind of picture, like the analogy I always use is when Bugs Bunny sticks his finger into Elmer Fudd's gun, and it goes boom and blows the metal back. That's what these look like. I mean, they really do. So there you go. That's the shrapnel piece that hit.
Right.
And they're awesome. I mean, it really does look like, a lot of meteorites are made of rock. They just look like rocks. You wouldn't even notice them if you stepped over it. Whereas if you saw this in the ground, you'd say, well, that's a pretty weird looking piece of metal. It really does look like something that fell from space.
While you were giving that explanation, we're actually up to 1550
From Admiral Memo.
from Admiral Memo for this auction. 2,000.
Oh,
$2,000. Awesome.
Blue 314, $2,000.
What's
Oh
this
yeah,
music?
I keep doing it for space.
Space.
This is Mass Effect.
Oh, Mass Effect.
Now, do you think
Yeah.
do you think maybe you could sign those books?
No way. Not for under $3,000.
Okay.
Come on.
Oh.
Come on, guys. No, yeah, I'll be happy to. One of them is a paperback copy of Bad Astronomy. The other one is like I said, a Chinese version of Death from the Skies. It was translated into a handful of languages, which is always kind of cool. And one of them was Chinese. It's like, all right. And I'm just looking at it. It's got this really kind of wacky cover that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And if I could sign my name in Chinese characters, I would. But unfortunately, it'll just be in English. Sorry.
All right. Well, it's true. We do want to get past $3,000 for this, because then he'll sign it, and also we will.
I'll sign.
Well, no,
It's okay.
He'll still sign it. Sorry, he'll sign it.
He'll sign it regardless, but then he will have beaten Bobek, which is what
Yes.
he secretly wants to do.
His arch nemesis.
Yes, apparently now we've decided that that's also his arch nemesis. Well,
I like to imagine all sorts of astronomy-related drama going on behind the scenes. It's probably not actually happening.
I think we should call going once.
I think we should.
Oh, just here?
What?
Sorry, the feed just broke up a little bit there. I missed what you said there.
Oh, sorry. We're going once at $2,000 to
Wow,
Scott
okay.
Go Blue for 314.
If there was ever a time to
Scott's
space
go
bid, I
blue.
think it's now.
Oh, yeah.
Is Scott No Blue from Michigan?
I have no idea.
Because I went to the University of Michigan, and Go Blue is sort of the thing you yell
Oh, really?
Apparently, like passing strangers. I was waiting to see if somebody said something about that.
All right, not.
Let's go. All right.
Let's. Scott just bid himself up by $5 to say, I went to University of Michigan.
Oh, there it is. What's a space bid?
Space
Awesome.
bid is we call a space bid when somebody upbids themselves,
Oh, I see. Just to make a comment or something,
or just for fun.
Because they
Some-
want to.
just because.
Because they want to donate more money.
Interesting number.
And this particular lot seems like a good time to space bid. So I think we should call going once again.
I think it goes once again to the same person.
Yeah.
Definitely going once. I don't know. Scott Go Blue looks like there isn't too much competition out there right now.
Like,
Looking at the
Space
chat
chickens.
room now.
like we have both.
Go green, go white. Is that a Michigan State person? Technical error.
So we've got both the meteorite and the glass that is formed on impact. You can actually stage your own meteorite hit in your backyard, for example.
That's
like
true.
that, yeah.
That's true. All you have to do is get a
It's
cannon.
hardly radioactive at all.
Very, very slightly radioactive. It not saying that it will give you superpowers, but not saying that it won't either.
Yeah.
It's
I
possible.
can't verify that it won't.
Yes.
Let's give Scott Go Blue a going twice.
I think we're gonna go in twice.
Ooh, going twice. Ooh, very exciting.
Going twice for $2,005 by Scott Go Blue.
Snipers, take your shots. Space shots from space.
Anybody who wants to snipe better get in there fast.
You'll be fire one ready.
Oh, Vantar says he's out. Lots of fans of Michigan, apparently.
Just tweeting this right now. There we go. Well, you know, they graduate like 10,000 people every year, so we're everywhere.
All right. I think we're getting ready to call it. I have a thing here.
Ooh, a bell.
Do?
It's the bell.
Oh.
Someone else should ring. Yeah.
All right,
All right.
here we go.
I saw Molly ringing the bell yesterday.
Do it up.
We've gone once. We have gone twice. And it looks like we're going to be sold. For $2,005 to Scott Go Blue 314.
The diving bell ring by Molly. Yay.
No, it should go over there. Well, I'm sorry you didn't beat Bobak. On the downside, you raised over $2,000 for Child's Play, so that's pretty sweet.
That is fantastic. And two-thirds the person who got this.
So Scott Go Blue, please make sure your donor account has your shipping information in it, so that we can send that to Phil Plait, so that he can actually send that stuff to you.
Yeah, I'll send it right to him. And thank you very much, Scott, a fellow.
Scott is very excited for this lot.
Yay.
Yay, Scott!
I'm wearing the spaciest shirt for you, Phil.
Is it? What is
It's
it?
a
Three keyboard
Oh.
cat.
keyboard cat. It's. Are there cats in space? I don't know, but
Oh, there it is.
it's the spaciest shirt I could muster.
That's awesome. I'm wearing a kind of an astronomy shirt from Red Rocket Farm.
It's very well awesome, Gromit. I like it.
All right. Well, thank you very much for calling in, Phil, and
That's
and all sorts of exciting info about space.
Hey.
It turns out there's a lot of stuff up there.
Yeah, before I go, I do want to say I saw a couple of people in the chat room talking about Comet Ison. The comet, this is a pretty bright comet. For months we've been wondering if it's going to get bright or not. It has been getting bright. It's up if you get up at like 5 in the morning, like before the sun's up, and look to the east, it just got brighter last night. It keeps having these events where it just basically jumps in brightness. Probably as pieces of it fall off or pieces of it break open and more gas pours out of the sort of solid part of it. And it just jumped up easily enough to be seen by naked eye. It's not like it's as bright, as Venus or something like that. But if you went out in the morning with binoculars and looked to the east, you'll be able to see it. I'll be posting a finder chart in the morning tomorrow, although I guess that'll be too late to see it, tomorrow morning. But it's going to be up for the next few days, and then once it swings by the sun and back out into the outer solar system, it'll be visible from the northern hemisphere probably for a few weeks. We don't know how bright it's going to be. We don't know if it's going to survive its passage with the sun. But if you go online and look for, ISON, ISON, finder chart, you'll find tons of sky maps and stuff to show you where to look for this thing. I would really recommend it. Even though it's, by the naked eye, if you just look out, you might just see a fuzzy dot. With binoculars, it'll be pretty nice, and you should be able to see the tail coming off. Wow. If you've never seen a comet, even if you have, I've seen a few, every one is still really, really awe-inspiring. It's really worth your time to get up early and give it a shot.
That's awesome.
Well, we're here all night for several nights, so that could be very cool.
Oh, it's not visible from Canada. Sorry. Kidding. It should be visible basically anywhere in the world if you get up before sunrise.
Wow, sweet. All right.
The next few days.
That's super cool. All right, well, thanks for phoning in. And
Thanks.
your wonderful
Congratulations,
auction.
you guys. You've raised a lot of cash here. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Liz, wherever you went.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.